good question is, when do I want to get up? Figure 9 hours, give or take. So if we do them at the same time, it would be fine. It's tantamount to sleeping in for me, especially after the last couple of days. All right. I know there's nobody in here yet, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed where I left off. I remember the last thing I was talking about was that the cameras lack context. And this is one of the issues I have with Prime's safety systems in general, is that their version is a fuck up is a fuck up. They really don't care why it happened. They do not care about the context. So like when you get a CER event, say you get a heartbreaking CER event, and they look at the radar, and the radar shows, oh, well, somebody jumped in front of you and then hit the brakes. Okay, so then you send in your personal dash cam video, and your personal dash cam video shows that the reality was that a car did it like an exit dive in front of you. You know, they jumped from the left lane in front of you, and maybe you were on a curve. So from your point of view, they were no longer in front of you, but as far as the radar was concerned, they still were. So it did like a braking intervention or something like that. So with the dash cam, with my dash cam in that instance, you have context to give to the data that the radar would have collected in that incident. And that sort of example has happened to me before. The radar will track traffic going down exit ramps or in a lane next to you if you're going around a curve, and log incorrect data. So the argument with dispatch and safety in that instance becomes, my point of view is nothing was wrong. Their point of view was it's still an incident. Because as far as they're concerned, the context means jack shit. So given that the context of an event means nothing based on Prime's safety policies, I have to ask, what is the point in having a company mandated camera to begin with if it's not going to provide context? Because they've pretty much already told me straight up, look, we're pretty happy with these cameras and how they work and what they do. We just need to train the AI and make them more accurate. Which is them basically saying, hey, if you fuck up, we're going to side with the equipment over you 99 times out of 100. And that 100th time has to be like an equipment malfunction. Going to continue the video where I left off.
Or was it just a one-off situation? These can identify situations from a driving standpoint and essentially do exactly what drivers are requesting: better training. All right. And I know that there's a little bit of resistance from our experienced drivers, our 2, 3, 4. You know, we've got one 5 million mile driver and he has no resistance to it. So I won't enter him into that demographic. But coaching is ongoing. Whether you've been here 1 year, 1 decade, whatever the case may be, it's important that we give you that continuing education. I'm getting on a flight on Sunday. I surely hope that pilot that's flying that plane has had some type of continuing education since he first got his pilot's license. And it's that idea that, you know, at the end of the day, we want the best trained driver, the safest driver out on the road with you, with your family and with everybody else in the motoring public?
Well, and training is continuous, and no one says that we only have to do one part of training. You know, it's kind of full circle. So it's in-person training, it's coaching, it's watching game video, it's doing all of those things together, and this is just one piece of that in becoming safer.
I think it's a great piece of it, and you know, the feedback that we got from some of the drivers that do currently have the technology is that, you know, you saw it on that first video that we did on that May 10th. Greg Helms, you know, I think he's a 2 million mile driver. Obviously accident free, obviously does a great job for us. And he was one of the ones that were dukes up from the beginning. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. He identified, hey, you know, I've got a habit of rolling stop signs, and really being able to see it and watch it, you know, it kind of changes the game for me. Now I'm paying attention to it more, and I'm cognizant of every time I come to an intersection with a stop sign, whether it's in Prime's parking lot or whether it's at the intersection of streets A and B, I'm making sure that I come to a complete stop because he knows and understands it's the right thing to do, and he knows and he understands that he's created this habit.
Yeah, and I think that coaching part is key.
So, do we have some questions that we need to answer from folks that are chimed in?
We do. Okay, so first one, and I believe I asked this earlier to Brianne, how long does the videos hold for if an event is created?
So it's kind of a
the videos stay on for like 4 days, right?
a tough answer here. It's not just a certain number of days. It is 3 months after the month in which the event was created. So if it was
Now that's specifically events, not the general video.
created May 1st, it's 3 months after the month of May. If it was created on May 29th, 30th, it is 3 months after the month of May. So kind of the month it was created in is kind of a give me, and then it's 3 months after that.
Okay, and again, that is just when the event is created, like
Correct. If we want to go back and pull video for something, you know, where an event was not created, it is 4 days.
Perfect.
Pretty much max. They only have a certain number of recording time on the cameras before it goes back, and 4 days is pretty much the max for going back to pull video that was not event-based.
I'll add a little bit of a caveat to that also. If there's an accident and we need to capture it, that does become a part of our legal save process. And, you know, we'll save that same as we do it with everything else that we do from a legal save standpoint. That's a whole different video too, but that video footage is captured into that legal save, and it's saved for as long as we need it.
And you mentioned this in the meeting, I just want to put this on this video. There's no screen recording on the app. So any video created, anything on the app, you cannot screen record.
No,
correct?
we have that disabled internally as well. So there is none of that that's an option. So, I mean, I'm sure somebody somewhere will try to find a way around, but we don't allow it. So we've done our best to block that in every instance possible.
Mm-hmm.
Real simple. Just record it with another device.
The old video of the video.
Yeah, I mean,
video.
I just, if it gets out, it's because somebody put it there. Those videos are for you, and that's kind of part of how that works.
Got another one here from YouTube. It says, how will these driver-facing cameras work for team drivers? They're specifically asking about couples. So, you know, if somebody's changing or using the restroom, the camera is not going to show the spouse. Can you talk on
Shoulder to shoulder of the driver while at work. So everything in that passenger seat, everything in the bunk behind them, completely blurred out. It is shoulder to shoulder, key on, in motion. That's
So this was the issue that I mentioned before with the privacy, is that even if it blurs everything else in the cabin, if you're like a driving couple and your spouse is in the back changing clothes or something, it doesn't really matter that the video is blurred, because you, as that person, are still super subconscious that there is a camera with a fisheye lens staring at you. Blurred or not, it is still technically watching you.
that's when the video is recording.
So as long as, you know, all those things that you mentioned, as long as you're not doing it in the driver's seat at 65 miles an hour, you don't really have a lot to worry about.
Well, yeah, love it.
And we do, if an event is created, you do get to see all of those in the app. So that is kind of part of our transparency piece, is that every video that is recreated, the driver gets to see as well. So there's none that they don't get to see. So every event that is captured becomes available to the driver.
Perfect. Have you guys seen any alerts for hands-free devices like Bluetooth headsets, anything like that?
Every once in a while, and so kind of, I know that we've gotten some privacy question as well, as far as like, if third parties can see these and stuff. And so when we come across an alert, and if it is false, so maybe you have a vape and you're holding it kind of up by your head and it thinks it's a mobile device, we report those as false. They de-identify the video, which means that they take out any company, driver, any truck, any type of information that comes along with it, and they use that then to retrain the model to prevent that from showing up as an alert again. So each one of those is used, but they've all been de-identified at that point in time. So there's no actual personal information in there. They just use that to retrain the AI
Except your face.
to pick up on that false alert and not identify those anymore.
So apparently there's a rumor going around that...
Oh, I love rumors.
Yeah, I know.
It's true. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah. So any driver that's coming to the Springfield, Missouri terminal right now is being forced to get a camera and be part of that 300 truck testing process. Is that true?
It's 100% false. We're looking for volunteers. I think there are some people who maybe get some tickets perchance that are...
There's the voluntold crew. I'm not posted up in Bay 45 or better yet at inbound, with a clipboard writing down truck numbers saying you're pulling in for camera. That's not what our goal is. Now, if we have routed you here because you have gotten written up for a handheld device, or you've gotten written up for a seatbelt violation, or you've got a high frequency of critical events, or you got some type of safety challenge that we are bringing you here for coaching purposes, yes, we are going to say, when you leave out of here, the expectation is that you leave.
Most of the people leaving here do not. It is still, for everybody else, it's volunteer, but we have some really great volunteers and some really people who have been kind of questioning a lot, getting involved, and it's awesome.
Got another one for you. Somebody wants to know, will drivers be penalized for anything that's said in the cab?
So there is...
That's a trick question.
Yeah.
Because if we say yes, that means there's audio, yeah. Brianne, and you've told me there was no audio.
Absolutely no audio recording.
Hey, I will say this: the camera is what it is. It does have a microphone on it. There is no audio, zero audio. We're not listening to anything. We're not. We can read lips pretty well, though.
Yeah, I've definitely detected a few hand gestures that I can pick up on.
What does the middle finger mean?
My sign language is a little rusty, but I don't think I don't think it's thank you. So there is no audio that's in there. It is disabled at the fleet level. So every camera that's out there, we can't turn it on or off per camera, anything like that. That is a fleet setting. And currently, I am the only one who can change that. So the privacy filters and the audio, I am the only one who can change that at this moment in time. And it does affect everything across the board. So just that's not something that a fleet manager can change if they want. They think something is happening. That's not something that safety can change. That is just an IT administration function this time.
Can we talk a little bit about, I've seen some questions on social media about the rollout date. I know we're still in the pilot phase of still trying to get 300.
Talk about rumors? Well, let's talk about the rumors.
Yeah.
So
I love rumors.
We don't have a firm rollout date right now. We are in this pilot testing right now where we are still configuring and looking at some of the different alerts and looking at some settings that we're adjusting and working through as we get some of those things. So we are constantly moving that date around as we go. We're hoping for possibly sometime in August. That's what would be our goal. We don't have a plan for who's going to get it first, who's, which terminals or any.
They have preliminary plans. Ironically, my next truck is supposed to be picked up the end of August. We're What they have stated thus far is that once they're happy with the cameras and they decide to go full rollout, supposedly what they're going to do is they're going to start installing them directly into empty trucks. So all the trucks that are sitting at the terminals waiting for drivers, when they decide that they're ready to start installing cameras in the fleet, they'll start with the empty trucks. So if they started installing, say, in September, and you got a lease in August, theoretically, you would not be required to have a camera on board until your next truck. Theoretically.
Anything like that, it's still just kind of a loose, because part of this does come with a new mobile comm system, and that's a much bigger piece, and they are paired together. So I just want to be real clear that there is no like set date, and there is absolutely no plan right now that if you're a trainer, you're going to get it first, or if you're a solo, you're going to get it before a team. Like, we don't have any of that kind of detailed out yet. So that is still very much in the works.
Hey, real quick, mobile comm, there's a lot been said. We don't talk a lot about that piece of it. It's the camera piece. Just real quick, why don't we talk about that piece as much?
We're going to do that kind of separately. They're paired together a little bit, because we do use the information from that to identify who's driving. Kind of, I guess, some other questions about biometrics. Our identification in the camera comes from who's logged in through hours of service. That's where that piece comes from. We've never asked anybody to scan in a fingerprint or come get a face scan or anything like that to do that kind of biometrics piece. It's all through that hours of service piece. And we're not 100% sure yet on that. We're really still testing it out and working through a lot of pieces. A lot goes into that, and we're not ready to pull the trigger on that exactly yet. So when we do know for sure, and we are committed, and we know what direction we're heading, we will make some announcements, and we'll answer some more questions and do all of that stuff. But right now, we're just kind of focusing on the camera piece at this exact moment in time.
We may be testing your math skills a little bit here, but we had a question on following distance. That's one of the alerts. How is that calculated? What are we expected to, how far are they expected to stay back?
I knew I was going to get some, so I came prepared. So I'm going to tell you following distance right now.
I'm going to say between 3.5 and 3.6 seconds.
You get an audible alert at 1.2 seconds and 0.6 seconds. So it's real close. Those are where you get the audible. The camera will talk to you and tell you that you are following too close.
I've never gotten one at 1.2. Never. I've gotten them at 0.6, but never 1.2.
There is a collision warning that you'll get at 2.6 seconds if the vehicle in front of you is not moving. So there's multiple pieces to it that kind of go into that, but average following distance is a calculation as part of the green zone score, which is your
minute by minute analysis of driving behavior.
And so right now, as of hopefully today, our fleet-wide setting will be 3.6 seconds, which is control will hold you at in front of that for that, I don't know what you call that, cruise control, the adaptive cruise, where it'll hold you to that vehicle in front of you. So 3.6, and that's what we will set our company-wide goal to for following distance. It's been 4.0, but it is changing to 3.6 because that is a request that we made of Netradyne to match our company.
Just a quick follow-up to Jamie's question about rollout. You had mentioned the August date. There's some concern going that everybody is going to have a camera by August. You mean that is the idea of when we're going to start the rollout past the 300 trucks?
Yeah, we want this 300 to really kind of get in and help us fine-tune these alerts, really provide the feedback that's necessary, work with us, give us that feedback that we need. But there's I don't know that there's enough shops in the that we could come across that we could get every camera installed and a mobile comm upgrade done in the month of August. It is going to be kind of a rollout procedure, but it's going to be in process, and it could take a while.
It will take a while, and I know I'm kind of dating ourselves and folks that are listening that were here for the ELD rollout. You know, we tested it, we flipped the switch. It took us about 16 months to really get every single driver or above 90% compliant with the ELD piece. So I anticipate it'll be similar to that. There'll be some stragglers at the end that we'll have to chase down and get it done. I mean, it's just the way it goes. We understand that, but we don't anticipate this being a fast. All of a sudden everybody come to Pittston, Salt Lake, or Springfield, and in the next 7 days, and we expect you to have a camera. That's logistically impossible. On a number of different fronts. So
I will dispel the rumor. It is not because we don't have the equipment. It is not because it doesn't exist yet. We could have it all here tomorrow if we really wanted it, but that's just not our intention. We do plan to roll out, but it will not be every single truck in 1 month.
Okay, I've got one from Facebook. Does the camera system work separately or together with the on-guard system that's already on the truck?
It works together. So it uses the
Does
sensors,
not.
Part of whether you're Detroit Assurance or Bendix,
Correct.
That are in the truck. And that is kind of the same critical events that are there now. It uses all of that same data that comes from the truck. So we're not.
It does not. I talked about this in the previous part of this video. I had an incident about a month ago in Michigan where I was changing lanes while traffic in another lane was coming to a stop. I did not slow down because I was changing into an open lane and I knew it was clear, but the truck's radar flagged the traffic was stopped and it tried to brake. So I got a critical event for a braking intervention. And the camera didn't record a damn thing. It didn't record anything at all. And when I have looked at the following distance videos, and I mentioned this before as well, the following distance that the camera registers is not the same as what the following distance the radar on the truck registers.
Not using the G-force sensor in the camera for roll stability or anything like that. That is from the truck's safety equipment. So that's when those are triggered.
And those critical events, those affect your stars and points for your day?
They do, yeah. So, kind of all of those events, if you have a few, perchance, somehow run through a red light, if you have severe backing, which is a new one that I saw, forward collision warnings, all of those kind of alerts that are triggered.
The hell is severe backing?
As far as your safe driving score.
Backing up too fast?
And I think that's a good time to kind of talk about another deal that drivers have put out there, and that's kind of job security. Again, our goal is not gotcha. We need good drivers. We need safe drivers. Our goal isn't to bring you in here and run you out of here for running a stop sign. That's not what we did before. That's not what we're going to be doing moving forward. Our goal is to help you see and understand.
I don't know if that's true either, because I used to know a driver in the tanker division who had, he lost his job because the system in his truck, this was a couple years ago, so pre-cameras, the CER system in his truck was malfunctioning and kept giving roll stability alerts. And even though he told dispatch and safety that the alerts were bullshit and broken, supposedly they fired him over it because he had too many CERs. So how is this system going to be any different? If you regularly run low numbers for whatever reason, wouldn't they use that as a metric to go, look, we see that you're not improving, we're going to cancel your contract, goodbye?
And what that looked like, okay, what happened, it's not inconceivable from somebody that investigates a lot of accidents that your recollection of what happened and what actually happened may be slightly different. Okay. The video, it just tells the truth. It's not biased. It just captures what happens both from an outward facing and inward facing standpoint.
I mean, I would agree with that statement about the truth of the video. That's why I have my own dash cam.
And the more data and more information we can use to coach and change habits and enlighten drivers on whatever behaviors they have going on behind the wheel, both brand new drivers, novice drivers, and long-term drivers. So.
Just to clarify, so, we have a lot of lease operators at Prime, right? This does apply to everyone running under Prime's DOT authority, correct?
So we are at any given time, we're probably about 90% independent contractor here. So 90% of the folks are lease operators. Anybody that
90%,
operates under
it's
Prime's
that high?
DOT authority, if the DOT number 3706 is on the side of your truck, at some point you will have this technology in your truck. Okay, whether you outright bought your truck, whether it's a brand new lease, whether you drive a company truck, whatever the case may be, it's all about the operating authority. So we do have some folks that operate on the advanced side, and one of the bigger ones is just down the street here, Wilson Logistics. It's a big advanced company, essentially. That's what they are. Awesome partner, awesome safety director, Jeff Field. Awesome company. They are not getting this technology. However, they've got their own, and they actually beat us to it. And they're in their own implementation phase of their own technology. But if you operate under the DOT authority, 3706, no matter who paid for the truck or what the title says, it's going to be having this technology.
I think we're good to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you both for your time.
Go away. So, try to fix that right quick. Excuse the overbright. I think there's still a lot of concerns. I don't think, no matter how much they talk about it, I don't think they're going to be able to completely get rid of the privacy concerns. It's just the nature of the game. And I mean, that's something that I've noticed, is that knowing that the camera is blurred or that its data is inaccessible, all that stuff, it's not as comforting as you want it to be, because you're still staring at this camera that's staring at you, and you know it's recording you. I mentioned in the other video that one of the issues I have is that the metrics for how the green zone score works are not explained at all. So I've shown this in another video. Let me grab my tablet. This thing here, this is the Geo tablet that they're testing. This is just a Samsung tablet. And get it out of the reflection. Oops. There we go. So that 925, that's my score for today. And then the 96 below it is my rank in my fleet. So I can go in here and say, well, how did I get that? And it comes up, and the only thing it shows is high impact events were my average following distance and then following distance. And then the only thing it tells me beyond that is there was an alert, no stars, and my average following distance was 3.2. I don't think it's too bad. Let's look at yesterday. Yesterday, I got 1,000 points. And other than the fact my following distance was 4 seconds, it says nothing else about why. How about the day before that? The day before that gave me 995. And it says following distance 3.7 seconds. 3.7 seconds. May 28th was 1,001, 4 seconds. May 27th, 1,001, 3.6 seconds. But then May 26th, 972, 3.5 seconds. And I mean, there's no other information as to what the individual things are that cause it to say, oh, well, you lose points for this, you earn points for this. There's nothing to explain how it's weighted. So it's like, okay, I get that, like, running a light, running a stop sign is going to lose you more points than, say, your following distance. But, like, there's no explanation of the individual breakdown. And that annoys me. They just sent me an event today. Another following distance one. If I go to my alerts, it's not there. But if I go to my my messages, then it shows a severe following distance alert from today. And it's not from today. It was just shared today. So this is what the video looks like. And you can see the boxes that it draws around things. Oh, I remember that car. I tried to pass that truck on the right, and this car was doing like 50 miles an hour. So that got flagged. So this is what they send you. So you've got your little, I don't know, G-force line at the bottom that draws the boxes around the other vehicles, and then there's a number on the box, which is what your following distance is. And then the upper right corner, it's got your speed and the road's speed limit, because apparently it knows what the road speed limit is, and I don't know if it knows that because of your GPS location, or if the AI is just reading signs. Yes, I recall this was going up a hill, and this guy was in the middle lane, and I couldn't use the left lane, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to go around on the right. Gave him lots of time to move over. He didn't move over, so I move over. You can see it drawing boxes around the road sign, so it's reading the road signs. Yeah, and then this car comes in off the ramp. Yeah, I'm doing 65, and he does not accelerate at all. And then it has a note, following too close cause, driver from front. And that's all that says. And then the video ends. This is what the inward camera shows. Whoops. So when they talk about the inward camera being blurred and only being able to see shoulder to shoulder, that is what it's supposed to apparently only be able to show. Supposedly, because of the encryption, nobody is able to see anything more than that from the interior camera. Supposedly. And they keep saying, oh, well, it's done in transit, so nobody has access to the unblurred video. Here's the thing. What did that inward camera show? Anything? I was watching the road. I wasn't looking at my phone. I wasn't messing with the GPS. I wasn't touching the radio. I wasn't doing anything. So what benefit did the internal camera have in that instance? There are no comments included with this. Nothing. So let me see if I can bring up some of my other ones that it's still got. They're only in here for, well, they're actually all still in here because I guess I haven't been here for 3 months yet. This was a stop sign in Colorado. You can see me looking out the window. So I got flagged for running that stop sign. Okay, yeah, I rolled through that stop sign. I admit that, no problem. You can clearly see that I'm checking out the window. And also, it's an added lane. I wasn't even entering the main traffic lane. I was entering an added lane. Honestly, that one should be a yield. So what do you get? What do you earn from the internal camera on that one? I looked out the window. That's all it tells you. Here, how about this one? This was another following distance one. I brought up the internal view and made it bigger. Oops. Was that even a fall? What? Or was that the traffic? That was the traffic light, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the traffic light. But again, my point, from the internal view, what does it show? What do you see in the internal view that shows anything? I wasn't distracted when I ran that light. I wasn't looking at the GPS, wasn't looking at my phone. So what help was the internal camera? Here's another following distance one. And it showed you what? What was happening in my cab? Here's another one. If it'll load. Come on. There you go. Yeah, flipping off the camera. That was my response to the voice alert. Because I was shadowing the truck in front of me because I was waiting for an opportunity to move to the left. There I go, moving to the left so that I could overtake him. And that was where I was talking about at the beginning of the video and the end of the last video, that the camera doesn't give a shit about context. The fact that you're following too close is all it gives a shit about. It doesn't care why. And Prime's opinion on it is, oh, well, what if that truck stops suddenly? You know, you can't see around it. You don't know what's ahead of it, blah, blah, blah. My point therein being, when you look at these videos that have been shared, the outside stuff is useful because you can see, okay, the traffic is doing this and this car merged on and all that stuff. That's useful information, especially from a training standpoint. What use is the internal camera in any one of those videos, any of them. That is one of the big questions that really hasn't been answered. Is like, okay, yeah, the outside video, very handy to have. That's why I have my own dash cam, is because then I can show the context of what's happening for CERs and stuff. But what value on a normal day-to-day stand does having the internal camera have? When, like, I mean, literally, unless you legitimately are a distracted driver on your phone or messing with your computers all the time, or I don't know, trying to see what your dog's doing in the back or something like that, I'm just not really seeing how having the internal camera is a real benefit to those instances. Now, I've been told stories by my dispatcher about, oh, well, this one guy, he was looking down at his leg, and it's because he had his phone on his leg, and it's like, okay, well, I guess in that instance it's useful. But I don't know, maybe it's a case by case, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's a case of, like, the external video is definitely useful, but I don't really see how the internal view is particularly useful. And I think some other people have pointed out that exact same question. The main thing is they've made up their mind. You know, I've seen a lot of comments, and I've seen other people's videos online. Have been some comments on my own videos about how people would never accept this, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, the reason I volunteered for it was because I thought they were still doing another 6 months of testing, and I wanted to have a leg up on it, be able to see how it worked, maybe have some input on how it would be implemented. I did not know that a month later they would be announcing it to the whole company and basically telling me, no, we're happy with it, we just want to train the AI up more, which is more or less what happened. But therein lies the fact that it's a super carrier company. They're going to do what they want to do, and they might try and limit drivers' concerns, but basically they've made their choice and they don't give a shit what any of us think about it. So the fact that I can sit here and say, what good does the internal camera do? Yes, the outside camera is useful, but what use really in general is the internal camera going to be unless you know for sure a driver is known to have in-cab distractions? And then you want to use it as a gotcha system to say, oh, look, you're definitely distracted in your cab. The bottom line is the company wants it. So no matter how much I or my fellow drivers complain about it or try and critique it, they have a product that they've decided that they want. And their opinion is this is going to happen one way or the other. So at this point, as drivers, you have two options, which is you either accept that this is going to happen and this is going to be a reality moving forward if you want to drive for Prime, or you leave or don't join, you go to another company. That's all we're left with. Because the company, bottom line, they've made their decision and they're going to stick with it. And for me personally, that's the part I'm kind of most sad about, is because I really thought I had a chance to critique the technology, to maybe help improve it. At the very minimum, as pessimistic about it as I was hoping I could at least, at the end, maybe I could be a testimonial and say, yeah, I was pessimistic, but now I like it, or some shit like that. I don't know. I thought I could be helpful by getting the system. But then them turning around and being like, nah, we're happy with it and we're going to roll it out in like 6 or 9 months or whatever. It's kind of a slap in the face. And the green zone scoring system, I think, is bullshit. The idea of giving out stars for anyone who has anything like my track record, and I'm a million miler, the star system is very condescending. It really just, it does. It feels like you're in kindergarten again and they're giving you stars for being good. And getting points and getting stars on this thing every day, it doesn't encourage me to drive safer. It just pisses me off. Now, if you're a driver who has bad habits or developed bad habits or whatever, yes, the system would be a good training tool. But for anyone who's been around for a long time, it's just, you just hate it. You think it's ridiculous. And there, again, the company has already decided that they want this, and it's not for guys like us who have million-plus miles safe records. It's for all of those newbie, greeny students coming in that don't have either good track records or maybe no track record at all. It's for them. The rest of us just have to suffer for it. But yeah, the bottom line is, it's like this is going to end up happening whether we like it or not. In the meantime, I'm calling it a day. I was looking at where I was thinking about heading, and it's either you drive 20 minutes to the next truck stop or you drive 2 hours to the other side of West Virginia. So I'm calling it a day. For anyone who watches my normal streams, I will be back on in the morning. I want to see the cat before I go. Yeah. He's over here just chilling. I think he's up. Very, very asleep. I might make another one of these at some point if they start having more pertinent new information. I don't know. But like I said, they seem to think the cameras are perfect and we just have to accept them as drivers. That's the way they're running this game. So, in the end, you have to make up your own mind. The only last thing I can think to say is, right now, while they're in testing, you could probably cover that internal camera and nobody would get mad at you. But once they're out of testing, covering the camera on the inside might get you in trouble because it will be considered messing with a safety device. So if your thinking is, oh, well, I'll just cover the camera when I have one, yeah, they can cancel your contract for messing with safety devices. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to get a shower, get some hot food, and call it a day. I will see you all